We here, Man with the Show, QTCast TV, we've been saying this for quite some time now. There are those on both sides of the aisle, both Democratic and Republican in this country, that wants to censor the internet. And there are radicals out there, activists, that are pushing this into bills, into Congress, state by state, age verification rules, online safety acts. And we already see one in the United Kingdom and what's going on there, the censorship that's going to happen there. It is total Orwellian, V for Vendetta type of censorship that's going to be going on for the United Kingdom. Those of you who are still able to see us here on YouTube from the United States, be sure to like and share this video. It's very important that you get this out there. They're liking it, sharing it, subscribing pushes us up in the algorithm, sending it out to other people, because basically I know there's going to be a time you won't be able to do that. If you do it now, it might help your cause on your end of the world. Because right now, we're looking at situations where they're trying to push further, and they keep rewriting these rules. They keep rewriting because they can't pass it right. The thing about it is when you look at it from one perspective, they say, well, we're trying to help children. We're trying to help children.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
They said, but they mentioned adult content. They have redefined adult content here. They say that adult content is pornography. The true meaning of adult content, and you look into the perspective, is that anything that is media, books, television, magazines, anything of that nature for those 18 and over. That means R-rated movies. That means Cosmopolitan magazine. That means many things that are made for adults that they want to put a ban. And they'll tell you, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing, it's the same situation, like here in New York, Kathy Hochul saying, well, Trump, as far as the Trump case, we're only going after Trump. We're not going after any other businesses as far as that. It's total shuck and jive bullshit that they've put out. Now, recently, you'll hear people like Richard Blumenthal, who's the Democratic from Connecticut, and Marsha Blackburn from Republican from Tennessee. Remember, we had that story from Tennessee that they wanted to ban cold beer. So think about where this is coming from. XBiz put this out. Critics lambasted revised version of the controversial KOSA bill. Now, KOSA, of course, it's Kids Online Safety Act. See, this is what they're going to do. They're going to make you scared. They want to frighten you that we have to save the children. We must save the children.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
They don't care about the children. They don't care about children. If they would have cared about children, they would have resolved many different things. Remember, look at the education standards that are going on in this country, the problems that we're going on. We're putting kids into college that cannot read, write, or do proper arithmetic. Realize that. Realize that now, that this is what is going on. So let us read this article off of Gustav Turner. The main U.S. senator sponsor of the controversial Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, we'll say KOSA from here on, have released new versions of the bill, which they claim addresses privacy and censorship issues flagged by opponents, but critics insist the revised version still presents insurmountable problems. In other words, they reworded. See, that's the thing about the politicians. They say, well, no, we're not going to do the adult content, but then you sneak it in underneath. Remember, there was a bill that was proposed by another state, which was a for school act, and they threw in an age verification bill right in the middle of it. For the past 2 years, KOSA has been marketed as a bipartisan effort, with Senators Richard Blumenthal and Marsha Blackburn selling it to their colleagues as a protect the children measure. In a scathing 2022 editorial, Jason Kelly of the leading digital rights organization Electronic Frontier Foundation argued that behind its kid-friendly name and supposed mission, KOSA hides a plan to require surveillance and censorship of anyone 16 and under. The bill, Kelly noted, would actually greatly endanger the rights and safety of young people online, while it also chilling controversial speech, including sexual expression across the internet. Today, Blumenthal and Blackburn released a self-congratulatory statement accompanying that the revised version of KOSA, celebrating growing U.S. Senate support for the bill with a total of 62 senators now co-sponsoring the legislation, and claiming that the bill has new supporters among stakeholder groups that severe changes have been made to strengthen the legislation and ensure it becomes law. The overwhelming bipartisan support for the Kids Online Safety Act, 62 total co-sponsors, Democrats and Republicans, reflects the powerful voices of young people and parents who want Congress to act. The two senators stated the recent watershed hearing with big tech CEOs showcased the urgent need for reform. No, here's what the situation is. You have situations where the companies are not controlling themselves. Now, there is Section 230 of the Internet clause, but some of these companies are just literally not paying attention to what is going on their sites. Meanwhile, what they're trying to do is censor people like me, Tim Pool, and many others from telling you this. See, if you're not in agreement with their political values, they basically want you censored or gone. Think about that for a minute. Put that in your mind. I'm not on the left. I'm not on the right. I have left both parties long ago because basically they're not doing the job we put them there to do. When you go out and vote, make sure you're voting for a person that's going to be doing what the people need, not what they're going to go there to what their needs are. With new changes to strengthen the bill and growing support, we should seize this moment to take action. We must listen to the kids, parents, and experts and advocates, and finally hold big tech accountable by passing the Kids Online Safety Act into law. This is their thought in their mind. Blumenthal and Blackburn also listed groups that now support, including the NAACP, Nintendo of America, Christian Camp and Conference Association, Microsoft, the Foundation United Parents for Safe Online Spaces, Snap, Street Grace, and X. According to the Washington Post, the following changes unveiled Thursday. The Senate is now poised to pass KOSA, which the paper calls the biggest piece of tech regulation in decades. Now we're going to jump down a little bit, but I would go to XBiz if you want to read the rest of that first part. But we're going to jump down a little bit here to opposition of the new version of the KOSA persist. On Thursday, digital rights groups Fight for the Future, which has helped mobilize opposition to provision bills, issued a statement signed by its director, Evan Greer. Fight for the Future and the coalition of dozen human rights, racial justice, and civil liberty groups that have been raising concerns about KOSA for months are still assessing the latest version of the bill, Greer wrote. Unfortunately, the bill sponsors does not include us in discussions about changes and would not share the text with us despite repeated requests. What does that sound like?
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
That's what's happening. That is what's happening. You know, you hear that situation, you got to pass it, and then you'll know, that it'll work for you. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. You need to tell the people what you want to put in there because they'll sneak a lot more in there. In this, I wouldn't be surprised if they sneak in money to Ukraine or to Israel or to many other places, or raise and pay to the politicians. This can happen. It can really happen to that. Greer noted with the approval that the Attorney General enforcement clauses have been narrowed, we agree that this will somewhat reduce the immediate likelihood of KOSA being weaponized by political motivated AGs to target content that they don't like. She wrote, We also appreciate that it seems an attempt was made to limit the duty of care to design features. However, by not clarifying that the duty of care only applies in content neutral manner as we've asked, it still invites the harms that we warned about. The fundamental problem with KOSA, Greer explained, is that its duty of care covers content-specific aspects of content recommendation systems, and the new changes fail to address that. In fact, personal recommendation systems are explicitly listed under the definition of a design feature covered by the duty of care. This means that the future of the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, could use KOSA to pressure platforms into automating filtering of important but controversial topics like LGBTQ issues and abortion by claiming that the algorithmically recommended that content causes mental health outcomes that are covered by the duty of care, like anxiety and depression. In simpler terms, it's a push similar to what TikTok does. In other words, they're pushing stuff that what they deem to be okay, which that's a problem. That means, in other words, it's like what YouTube does now with some of the content creators. It's that, they're not going to put you in the top. YouTube was made for independent content creators, but meanwhile, stuff like Jimmy Kimmel and stuff from NBC, ABC, Disney, and all them get pushed to the top level. On occasion, sometimes I don't end up on the top, but basically this channel does end up showing up sometimes on a higher level because of some of the content that we talk about. But there's going to be a point where YouTube is going to block that as well. It's a changing situation every day. This is a fight that we had many years ago in the 1990s on public access. We had situations where we had adult content and certain conversations that the cable company didn't want. And they were trying to force people to sign a contract, a card to say, listen, I want to see this particular content on there. But that's outing them to say that they like this type of content, and that's just making lists of people that do, which that should not be anybody's purview. Continuing on, as long as KOSA's duty of care covers content recommendation systems without limitations to ensure it can only be applied to content-neutral design choices, she added, platforms will likely react the same way that they did to the broad liability imposed by CESTA and FOSTA by engaging in an aggressive filtering and suppression of important and, in some cases, life-saving content. Now, there's a lot more onto this. Like I said, do catch this particular article. Gustav throws a lot of information into here. But in my thoughts, to close this up very nicely, is KOSA is a bill that will endanger your freedoms. It will endanger your freedom of speech, freedom of press, and of course, they're going to go after the R-rated movies that they don't like. You already see some of these companies like Max and TMC, that they put these disclaimers on the front. I mean, I saw disclaimers on the channel Charge on Law and Order episodes. Why do you have to have disclaimers on there? If you put it in this is recommended for adults, that's fine enough. That's all you got to do. TV 14 and over, TV 18 and over. That's all you need to do. You don't need to put the, they smoke, or they talk about this, they talk about that. And this is the stupidity. We are a republic of freedoms. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom. But the thing about it is, a lot of these people don't want this off. These are the new Puritans, as said in this particular novel. These are the Puritans that are coming out and saying, no, you can't have that. We want to remove the Miller's test. We want to remove all the other, revert back to prior to the 1970s, the Hays Code, which the Hays Code is back. People don't realize we're in Hays Code 2.0. All you got to do is check out Film Threat as they talk about what's in the writer's room. Well, they say, well, you have to have this, you have to have that. this kind of representation. You can't have this. What is that? That's the Hays Code once again. And the Supreme Court deemed the Hays Code unconstitutional. Someone needs to bring this back into play and sue Amazon, sue Hollywood, sue SAG and all the others, the writers' unions and stuff like that, because they're putting all this work out there and they're saying like, well, you got to do this. That's not freedom of expression. You're putting a lot of writers out of business. You're telling them what to create. In other words, if I'm a painter and I'm painting a mural, they said, no, you can't put it this way. You got to use this color. You can't use that color. You got to use this type of paint. You got to use this type of brushes. You're telling what the artist to do. The artist is there to express his own artistic expression, not yours. Those who criticize this. Once again, bringing up the history of the world where the critic pisses on the guy's picture. That's what they're doing. And that's what they're doing for the internet. All you got to do is look at places like Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and what they're doing to the internet. That they want to ban this, ban that. You have countries that have banned particular animes. There was Russia who banned Death Note because the guy committed suicide. But it had nothing to do with the anime. He was a fan of that particular show. They said, well, it was because of that. No, he had a depression problem. Something went wrong in his life, but nobody helped him. People want to blame things on entertainment, books, music, when they're issues within their own selves. They can't take responsibility for their own selves. We have family issues these days now. The nuclear family has been ruptured. And you see all these kids, they said, well, all these kids are on the internet. Have parents sat down and talked to their children? Remember, these are the same politicians that sat there and got rid of Saturday morning cartoons because they said they're not getting enough education. Where are we now at 2024? Kids today are still not getting well educated. So comment below. Let me know your thoughts about this. Let me know. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Tell me in the comments there. Don't forget to hit that like, share this video. It's very important you share this video. And hopefully today's I've earned your subscription. Don't forget to check out all of our other videos this week on Cuticast TV and Man with the Show. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Have a good week. Stay safe. Stay strong. Question everything. And see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are two ways listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.